didn't list Deckard in Blade Runner 2049.
Oh, do you know who plays Deckard?
Dude, Harrison Ford.
I think you're gonna be all right.
Primarily Critical.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Primarily Critical with Movies at an After Party. This would be it.
If you have not seen this film, we suggest that you stop listening any further. Oh, hello.
We got spoilers, trivia, and opinions like crazy, and we can't wait to share them.
Good, bad, new, old, weird, or gross.
We pass judgment on them all.
Today, the runner of the blades. My name is Steve. I'm here with
Greg.
and
Christian.
Today we're covering Blade Runner, the final cut, the
1982
classic, cult, shall we say? Cult classic. Christian, this was your pick.
Yep.
How do you feel about your pick?
I really like this movie, and I was shocked that you guys had not either seen it at all, or I forget what it was. You'd not seen it at all, or you'd only seen the theatrical release.
Number two for me.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. I've definitely seen it, but I wasn't sure. I had seen which copy I'd seen, and now I know that I hadn't seen that one. No.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. This was a box I needed to check as a film critic
And a nerd.
yeah, and a cyberpunk enthusiast.
Yep.
Wow, man. So, the movie we're introduced to the idea of what they call arcologies, and that's these massive city buildings.
Yep. The whole city in one building.
In one building.
The whole city in one building, and I love that concept in my fiction. How do you feel about it?
Well, it's not only is it one city in one building, it's a company. It's a huge company, except everyone that lives in that building is an employee
Of the corporation.
Yeah.
Tyrell Company.
Tyrell Corporation.
Corporation.
Heavy security, not super effective.
Yeah.
Some of the main differences between this version and the theatrical release is that the theatrical release has a happy ending voiceover as they drive off into the distance, and the suspicion that Deckard is a replicant is really vague. In this one, it's more pronounced and hopefully made clearer. Mm-hmm. And this particular version, they cleaned up the audio, they cleaned up the video. It looks fantastic.
It does
for a 30-year-old movie.
Yeah.
When I first saw the final cut, I was like, "Oh my god, this is!" It's like washing the dirt off of it, right, and making it clearer. It's amazing. What did you think of the soundtrack?
Oh, it was very nice. It had these weird noises throughout the whole thing.
It's a very weird soundtrack.
Yeah.
But it works with the movie, right?
Yeah.
Like, it does a very good job of bringing you to a place that you have no clue. Like, trying to imagine what was seen in the movie, like you said, one big city that's owned by a corporation or whatever. Like, why would the music be normal and everything else be, what the... so I felt it meshed well with everything else they're going with, for sure.
Oh, totally.
You know?
Totally. We meet this... There's a shop dock near the beginning of the movie. There's like this cold room and this guy with all kinds of spectacles on his face and head mounted, and they're...
The guy Chew, he makes eyes?
Yes,
okay.
He makes eyes. It's interesting that he makes eyes for the corporation.
Yeah.
And it's him alone, it seems.
Well, he was in communication. There was somebody he was expecting to come, but they had pulled his communication wire out because he was like, "Come help me out, there's some fucking weirdos here," in Chinese, or whatever he said.
Yeah.
But nothing happened because nobody heard him. So he wasn't a one-man show, but he was I think he was more like a prototyper, right? He was the designer.
Yeah.
Someone else made the mass production. Or somebody else made them when they went into the replicant models. But he was working on better eyes.
He was.
Yeah. You could see an infrared or
Super eyes.
Yeah, and that 30 years ago, when it was made, was kind of like, ooh. Whereas now you have, I mean, you don't have those crazy eyes, but you have stuff that mimics it that were, like night vision goggles
corneal implants
and other things too.
Yeah.
So it's less fiction and more closer to our reality than further from. But still,
It's true. They're growing body parts in labs. I've seen a human ear on a mouse, and
they grow organs in pigs. And you wind up with a heart transplant that started off in a pig, or maybe a kidney
valves,
or something
right?
like that.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not just visiting the same websites you guys are.
Yeah, the future is grand, or possibly grand. We have potential. Just got to make sure that nobody named Tyrell gains any real power. Do you agree with we could say we can print some people. Let's start the machine and start printing people, and we can have them as slaves, and we've made them. In general, would you agree with this concept?
Well, your first mistake is saying people, because are they people because you've printed them?
Well, you don't label them people. You
call them replicants.
You call
Or
them
Nexus 6s.
subjects. Or, Nexus,
Yeah, Nexus 6 units.
Yeah, you give them some slick name.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's a slippery slope, right? You
It's
see
a
all the
slippery
movies that
slope.
we've seen. There are other movies that talk about that. We reviewed one, I Am Mother.
Yes.
And that was a whole situation where you create AI, which this is a different version because it's bio.
Yeah, they're grown in a vat.
Yeah,
It
but
seems.
by the same token, it's still not a person as we know it developed. So, of course, yeah, they have a whole other identity, and we're not part of this group. We're a different group. So we don't want to be oppressed. So now we're getting weird. But
Oh, that's
anyways,
so funny.
you know what I mean? Like,
I totally get it. We got bio-engineered robots, and we got metal robots, and somehow it's okay to have slave robots that are made out of metal, but it's not okay to have slave robots made out of flesh. Would you agree, Christian?
Sure. And I don't know, they wouldn't be classified. They weren't technically slaves. They were workers. So did they get around that loophole?
No, they were slaves in that they were made for a purpose, and they didn't have a choice about it.
And they had to do that. Yeah. You're right.
And they worked off-world.
Yeah, they were made to support the colonists who were terraforming or building out a planet to suit them, which sounds like hard labor, which they got the replicants to do, right? The Leon was a nuclear loader or something like that, just immune to pain and could work all day. Pris was an entertainment model, right?
Got to entertain the troops.
Entertain the troops.
Yeah. Oh man, what a fun little world to play in. We noticed that Ridley Scott had a major part to play in this movie, and he also had a major part to play in the Alien franchise. Now, there have been connections made where they share the same universe.
Both these?
Both of them.
Yeah.
Oh.
And they have robots in Alien, and they have a robot in Aliens. I can't remember their names because we're not reviewing that movie.
But when you're saying robots, you mean androids?
Androids.
Like okay,
Androids,
yeah,
right?
okay.
And they bleed yellow and everywhere else.
White, yeah.
Yeah.
But they're organic.
Yeah.
And so they would have us believe that these are the same robots. Mind blown.
They were made by different corporations.
Yes.
One was made by Wayland and one was made by Tyrell.
Oh, you did your homework?
Oh no!
He's jumping ahead. He's jumping ahead.
Remember what's her name? Sigourney Weaver, Ripley. She says she's like, you didn't say there would be an android on this one. They go crazy. Oh, you're talking about our older models. We've fixed those problems since. Right.
That's right. They were fixed by Marcellus.
What?
Sorry, that's the sequel, right?
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
No, Blade Runner 2049.
Jumping ahead.
Oh.
Jumping ahead.
Okay. Niander Wallace.
Wallace.
What the hell is he talking about?
Anyway, let's see. What else do I got on Blade Runner? Anybody else have any questions?
Was that the worst love scene in the world? I mean, not everything in this movie is great.
Yeah.
I am a fanboy, but I'm not.
Refresh my memory.
Well, I
how
heard
does this love scene play out?
Rachel is in his apartment. She gets up. She decides she wants to leave, and he slams the door in her face. Yeah, and
But I heard that Sean Young was really brutal on that set. So the question is that love scene brutal because of the actors? But not because of the acting. I guess I don't know how you put it, but
There was a certain vibe to the scene that was like, made you not want to like Rick.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad.
It was pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah. They need to. You need to make another cut.
Cut 7.
You need to cut the final cut.
Final for real this time. Now it sounds like a Monty.
for real, yeah.
Yeah. Now it sounds like a Monty Python skit.
Exactly.
And another thing.
Yeah.
Oh man. Lots of fire and rain in the movie. Everything was either raining
On fire or
on
raining. Yeah.
fire. Yeah. Or both.
Both
Well,
at the same time.
The opening scene is just what New Jersey looks like now, and the street scenes have been compared to like Montreal at night when it's raining.
Oh yeah, okay, I can see that.
Montreal's a very pretty city, though.
Yeah.
Should we get into this trivia? It could spark more conversation.
I was going to ask you about the eye
Oh.
shine, but the first trivia thing is about the eye shine. Did
Okay.
you guys notice the eye shine?
I did.
A little bit, yeah, but it was subtle to me, because it was like one of those things that was different or off, and I recognized it, but I didn't.
Yeah,
know
was that on
I-
purpose?
Yeah, I was like, wait, what? What?
Is that just the weird light in that room?
Yeah, and
I think it
yes,
was.
and yes.
It was implied that all the replicants had shiny eyes.
The shiny eyes.
Had the cat shiny eyes. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. But for some reason, they needed these quite elaborate contraptions in order to
Do it.
figure out exactly whether they're replicants or not.
Yeah, the void comp machine.
Ridley Scott and Jordan Commonwealth achieved the famous shining eye effect by using a technique invented by Fritz Lang, known as the Schuften process. A light is bounced into the actor's eyes off a piece of half-mirrored glass mounted on a 45-degree angle to the camera. That's cool.
Yeah, it's sort of like a teleprompter. The camera can't see the glass, but the lights. The camera's this way, and the the glass is like this, and there's light bouncing off of it.
Yeah, and I guess that's specifically for the audience. We are supposed to know who are replicants and who are not, and they, the players in the opus, are don't know.
Don't know,
right?
Yeah. Ridley Scott regards Blade Runner as probably his most personal and complete film, probably after the 5 edits he got to make.
Yeah, I guess so.
After the first one.
People kept driving money to his house saying,
No, it was the studio screwed around with the first, like, oh, that's too dark and depressing. Put a happy voiceover at the end. And he was like, no, it's not supposed to be a happy, nice movie. Was that other terrible movie we watched? They made him film a wedding scene after the movie was over. King Arthur?
Oh, it might have been King Arthur.
Yeah. The studio was like, that movie sucked. Make it happier.
You can't end on
You can't end on the sad goodbye. Put a wedding right after that for no reason. It was so stupid.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah,
this is when producers
mess with your movie.
mess with your movie.
Oh,
The money
the money gets involved.
Yeah.
Right. Crazy. Okay. The final scene was shot literally hours before the producers were due to take creative control away from Ridley Scott.
And then they tried to do it anyway.
And then they did it.
They did it anyway.
At around 38 minutes after Pris, Daryl Hannah, first meets Sebastian, William Sanders' son, she runs away from him, skidding into his car and smashing the window with her elbow. This was a genuine mistake caused by Hannah slipping on the wet ground. The glass wasn't breakaway glass, it was real glass.
Yikes.
And Hannah chipped her elbow in 8 places. She still has the scar from the accident, as can be seen in Dangerous Days, Making of Blade Runner, which was made in 2007. The feature-length making of documentary of the film.
She finished the frickin' take.
She did.
Yeah.
She's a professional. She's a professional.
Yeah. They didn't cut and do it again where they had her smash into breakaway glass. No, she finished that take where she hurt herself.
Yeah.
Kept going.
Anyway, salute to you, Daryl Hannah. You are a trooper.
Well, that was in. That happened in Django. Also, he cut himself when he's given that talking to the toast, right? Like DiCaprio. Oh, okay.
He might have. I've seen it, but I don't
next
remember
movie.
I'm so scared of doing this movie because a lot of people care very, very passionately about this movie, Blade Runner. You know, they still show it in a theater in Winnipeg right now on a monthly basis.
Every month?
At
Wait,
Park
what?
Theater.
At the Park Theater.
Not every month.
Not every
Occasionally.
Okay,
Yeah.
they still show it in a theater in Winnipeg, and that's how much it's loved. It's like right up there with
Rocky Horror Picture
Rocky
Show.
Horror Picture Show.
Rocky.
So I'm worried that there was no amount of due diligence I could possibly have done to match these Uber fans out there.
Well, you have to watch it like 33 more times.
Okay, well, this is number 1,
Yeah.
and maybe we'll
Is this
revisit it.
only your first time watching it?
Well, I said I might have watched a different version of it
Oh, yeah,
previously,
yeah,
but I'm not sure which one it was, and
Yeah,
honestly,
I fall into that boat.
yeah.
But yeah, the ending.
Wah, wah, wah. So thank you, Christian.
You're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm a better person.
Yeah, I fixed that problem for you. You like your Shadowrun games that you've never seen the right version of Blade Runner, so...
I've seen Johnny Mnemonic. Have you seen Johnny?
Have you read the book?
No.
Read the book first.
Okay. All right. Now I have reading material and
Yeah,
32 movies to
You
watch.
got reading material into December.
And
Yeah.
you need to do it all before Cyberpunk 2077 comes out.
Which will be very soon, isn't it? Oh,
yeah.
no, it's next year.
Next year.
But yes, Keanu Reeves is doing Cyberpunk 2077, and it looks so awesome. He's also doing Matrix, man. He's
Matrix 4.
4?
yeah,
Ooh.
yeah. People love that guy.
Maybe. Ooh, I don't know. It might be. Ooh. We'll see.
Anyway, I think my cat might jump into my rafters, literally, and I think we should say goodbye. Right?
What's coming up next week?
Is that Blade Runner? Next week, Monday at noon.
More Blade Runner.
More Blade Runner. Blade Runner 2049.
Why did you get Christian 2 picks? No, you didn't. Somebody else picked Blade Runner 2049.
I threw it out there as a
Christian suggested that I pick.
I told him what to pick.
Well, okay. What happened was Blade Runner 2046 landed on Netflix.
Yes.
I think, and I threw out, "Hey, it's downloadable. Why don't? I mean, it's easy to consume. Why don't we add that to our roster?"
Too late. She's in the rafters.
She's in the rafters.
It's in the walls.
It's in the walls. It's in the walls. It's all over, man. Yes, so join us next week, Monday at noon. We're going to be covering that. PrimaryTheCritical.com. I'm Steve. I'm here with
Greg.
and
Christian.
we'll be covering that. See you then.
Primarily